In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, to whom we all have to turn back. Honorable listeners and respectable audience, you know that we have started a series of linguistics, and by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have covered the first chapter, that how language was originated. We have started the next chapter, and it is about human and animal language. If you remember, we talk about the informative signals and communicative signals, and related to this we did discuss displacement and arbitrariness. And yesterday our topic was about productivity, that humans have the ability to coin, produce and manipulate new words, while animals, they do not have this capacity. Listeners and audience, today our topic is cultural transmission. In this lecture, we are going to talk about the next characteristic or the next quality or trait of human beings' language. So, first of all, I will talk about generally about heredity, which is connected to cultural transmission. Then I will give some examples, and after that I will come to the topic cultural transmission, and then I will share more examples for clarification, and I will also try to compare cultural transmission that is related to human beings. I will compare this with animals and other creatures. Listeners and audience, you know, there are so many characters which we call genetic characters. They are inherited from parents to offspring. You know, if the parents, they have brown eyes, definitely their offsprings, their children, they would have brown eyes. If the parents, they have dark hair, definitely their offsprings and their children, they would have dark hair. This process is known as heredity. The process of the transferring of features, physical features or characters from parents to the offspring, it is called heredity. The process of the transferring of characters, what kind of characters, genetic characters from parents to offspring, this process is known as heredity. So now, as I presented examples, two examples, one was related to the dark hair, and another was pertaining to about the brown eyes. Now, what about language? Here we talk about the hereditary characters or hereditary characters which transfer from parents to offspring. What about language? The question is that, does language inherit from parents to offsprings, or it is acquired? Answer to this question is that language does not inherit from parents to offspring. It is acquired, and the children, they acquire language from their parents, from their culture, from their surrounding. from their environment. You know, as I talk about it, for example, the dark hair, the brown eyes, the blue eyes, they inherit from parents to offspring. While language, it is not inherit, it is acquired. It is true that the children, they have predisposition, they have innate capacity and ability by birth to acquire language, but they do not have complete language tendency to speak by birth. They learned from the parents, they acquire from the parents only. And I'm going to share with you one example. For example, if parents, they speak Pashto language, and then they go to another country, take the example of Arabia. If they go to Arabia and the child is born in Arabia, definitely the child will speak Arabic language. Yes, the qualities and the genetic characters, they will be inherited, but the child will speak Arabic language because the child was brought up in the environment, in the surrounding of Arabia. So any language the parents they speak, the children, the infants, they will acquire the same language. Even if the parents they are speaking two languages, then the children they will speak two languages. Now let's come to cultural transmission. This was just introduction that you know about the topic. Now what is cultural transmission? Cultural transmission mean when a language is passed on from generation to the next generation. When a language is passed on from one generation to the next generation, this process is known as cultural transmission. And from this definition, we came to know and we deduce that the children, the infants, the language or their language is not inherited from their parents, but they acquired language from their parents. Whatever language the parents speak, they also speak the same language. Whatever the surrounding, the people speak the language, the children, they speak that language. Now, there is one interesting point, and that is, what about the language of animals? How animals they acquire a language? Do animals acquire a language like human beings? Answer to this question is very strange. And the answer is no. As human beings, they acquired a language. Animals, they cannot acquire the same. Animals, they are born with special set of signals, and they are born with specific words, with a specific communication system. So they do not need to acquire language, words, signals as the human beings they acquire. And there are two very interesting examples. One example is about the birds. If the small birds, they are kept in isolation without hearing the sounds, the voices of other birds. Instinctively and naturally, they will produce sounds like other birds. But on the contrary of that, if some infants and newborn babies, if they are kept in isolation without hearing of the voices and language of other human beings, they will not be able to produce a single word or any other language. So this is why animals, they are born with a specific set of signals and words in a system of communication with a fixed, limited and restricted words when they are able to convey their limited and restricted message to other animals. So listeners and audience, this topic that was related to cultural transmission, that the process where a language is passed on from one generation to the next generation. Language is a process where it is acquired. It is not inherited from parents to parent, but it is passed. So it is not inherited from parents to offspring, but it is passed on from one generation to the next generation, and it is acquired. On the other hand, animals, they are born with specific set of signals, and if they are kept in isolation from their own parents, then instinctively and naturally they will be able to produce words and sounds without with the combination of other animals. So hope that this topic is clear to you. Thank you.